Today we're talking equipment in EDH, and there's quite a few you might want to consider running in your decks. Let's do this. So in Commander, we need our equipment to do more than just make our creatures tougher or our commander stronger and hit harder. We need card draw, we need protection, we need utility, sustainability, we need evasion. So I've broken this list down into all of those categories, and starting us off, card draw. So when it comes to card draw and equipment, there are three cards that stand out to me above the rest. First up is Josh Lee Kwai's favourite equipment, and that's right, Skull Clamp. Gives your creature +1/-1, when it dies you draw 2 cards. Most commonly used on tokens because they instantly die as soon as it's equipped, allowing you to draw 2 cards, making a little bit of an engine for you in your games. Next up we've got Mask of Memory. Mask of Memory is an equipment that when it deals damage to an opponent you draw 2 cards and then you discard a card. So absolutely fantastic. You hit people, you get rewarded not only for hitting them and lowering their life total, but also by drawing more cards. Next up we have an absolutely fantastic card that I don't see very often, but I think it can put your opponent in some very interesting situations, let's say, and it's Infiltration Lens. So when you attack, if your creature that's attacking that's equipped becomes blocked, you draw 2 cards. So your opponent is now faced with a choice: take damage or let you draw more cards. Next up we've got the protection section, and what better way of protecting your creatures or your commander than giving them hexproof? Absolutely fantastic. So let's come out the gate swinging with the first card, and that's Swiftfoot Boots. Haste, hexproof, for all the low cost of 2 mana. Fantastic card, does everything we need in Voltron and equipment-based strategy decks. Following on from that one, we've got Lightning Greaves. Yes, the twin brother of Swiftfoot Boots. Just remember with Lightning Greaves, it gives Shroud though, and not hexproof. Shroud being slightly different, that nobody can target it, hexproof being your opponents can't target. So just be careful in what order you put equipment onto your said creature, because obviously once it's got Shroud you can no longer target it yourself. Lastly we've got Mask of Avacyn. Mask of Avacyn buffs your creature slightly, so +1/+2, and it gives it hexproof. So it's mainly there just for the hexproof, for the protection. It's a cheap, cost effective card, costs 2 mana. So yeah, if you need protection for your creatures, look no further than those 3. Next up, this is the hardest section to strip down to just 3 cards. We've protected our creatures and our commanders, we've drawn some cards, we now need to go on the offensive. We need to start dealing some damage to our opponents, because at the end of the day, that's how we win, especially when we're playing equipment and Voltron based decks. So when it comes to dealing damage and making an impact in the game, I can think of no better card than Cauldron Complete. It's a living weapon, it has indestructible, it gives indestructible. It gives +5/+5, it gives First Strike, Trample, Haste, and it also has, whenever it deals damage to a creature, you just exile that creature. Absolutely fantastic bomb of equipment. If this comes down, it's going to start making waves in your games. Look out for it in case your opponents are playing it. If you want to be playing it, make sure you pick up a copy. Next up, we have a card from what I remember as being the broken period of Standard a few years ago. It was from Wild Drain. It has Flash, it's cost reduced for each creature that you have attacking, it gives Double Strike, it gives Trample. It's just, yeah, absolutely fantastic piece of equipment. It's Embercleave. You could do so much with this piece of equipment. You attack in, declare your attackers, people declare their blockers, and then you can look at the board state and see where this piece of equipment needs to go. You can put it on to get the best damage through, or the best utility damage through, to remove one of their creatures that they're not expected to be able to be killed. Just absolutely fantastic piece of equipment. Just, yeah, definitely worth it. The price of this one does spike quite often, so yeah, if you are wanting one of these, probably pick it up sooner rather than later, because I don't think it's seen a reprint in a little while. Third card on the list. This card is fantastic. It's allows you to power up your creatures, but also depower your opponent's creatures, which is just absolutely fantastic. It's Umezawa's Jite. When you attack and it deals combat damage, you get charge counters. You can then choose what you do with those charge counters. Make your stuff stronger, make your opponent's stuff weaker. Once again, when you're attacking with this, it makes their blocking maths so much more difficult, because once you've got a couple of charge counters, you can choose what you're buffing and what you're debuffing. Absolutely fantastic card. And those are my top 3 in terms of going on the offensive. So it's at this point we've probably drawn a little bit of attention from the opponents at the table. So we need to make sure we're keeping our life total at a healthy level, as well as still able to get through to deal that damage that we need to keep pulling ahead in the game. So this is our sustainability section, and I've got 3 more cards here for you. First off, we've got Loxodon Warhammer. It gives you a healthy +3 to your attack, and it gives you trample and lifelink. So no more little cheap chump blockers are getting in the way and stopping you from getting that damage through, and obviously lifelink keeps you in the game. Following on from that, we've got Basilisk Collar. Another great card, gives you lifelink, but it also gives you death touch. So this makes blocks hard for your opponent again. So just like we had with Infiltration Lens, anything that makes blocking harder for your opponents, making it more difficult, we put in the pressure on them so they have to make the right play. Next up, this is absolutely fantastic card, Shadow Spear. 1 CMC, it gives you +1/+1, it gives you trample, it gives you lifelink. Absolutely fantastic card. It also has another ability for 1 mana that when you activate it, you turn off hexproof and indestructible for all of your opponent's stuff. Absolutely fantastic. They can no longer have indestructible or untargetable things, allowing you to pick off what you need to pick off to make sure you can get through and deal your damage. This is a section that should not be overlooked in my point of view. When games start going to that 7-8 turn point, you definitely need to make sure you've got some of these types of cards in your deck to keep yourself going on these equipment strategies. Following on from our sustainability section, we have utility. Now there is lots of different ways you can go in this section depending on what your deck needs to do. So this is where you need to really hone in on what your deck does and how it does it. I've tried to pick a few cards here that could help different decks in different ways. So we're starting off Grappling Hook. Gives the equipped creature double strike, allowing you to get that damage through, but also when it attacks, it allows you to pick what blocks it. What more could you want? You get to pick your own blocks when you're attacking with your own creatures. Love it. This is definitely going to wind some of your opponents up. Moving on from that one, we have Whisper Silk Cloak. You don't want to deal with blockers? Just be unblockable. Whisper Silk Cloak gives your creature unblockable. It can't be blocked. And on top of that, it also gives it Shroud. Just remember Shroud, like I mentioned before, not the same as Hexproof. But still, if you want to get a sneaky attack through, this could be a way to do it. Next on from that is an artifact from Lord of the Rings, so we know it's going to be balanced. It's Bilbo's Ring. So as long as it's your turn, the equipped creature has hexproof and can't be blocked. The only time you ever attack is on your turn. So this is absolutely fantastic. But not just that, when you do attack, you may lose a life, but you also draw a card. So this is just an absolutely fantastic card. It means you can get through for the damage, it means you're drawing more cards. Love these setup. These can help in lots of different situations, so yeah, have fun with these ones, guys. Here we have some bonus cards for you guys. Now these aren't equipment in themselves, but they work quite well with equipment. They all have Metalcraft. Metalcraft is an ability that when you control 3 or more artifacts, these cards will do something extra or beyond what they're normally capable of. Let's get the expensive one out of the way first. Let's just start with Mox Opal. It's a 0 mana rock. It comes into play as long as you control 3 artifacts. You can tap it, add 1 mana of any colour. It's fantastic if you can afford it and you want to play at the higher levels of power with the fast mana type stuff. But if you're a new player and you're starting to build your first Voltron or equipment based deck, there is probably better places to put that level of money, let's say. Following on from that, we have 2 removal spells. First up is Galvanic Blast. It's a 1 mana shock, essentially deals 2 damage to creature or player, unless you obviously have Metalcraft and control 3 artifacts, which we are probably going to do, seeing as we're running a lot of equipment in our decks, in which case it means it's going to do 4 damage instead. Now we know that the average CMC across the most popular creatures in EDH Commander format is 4, so this is pretty much kill target creature. Following on from that, if you can't kill the target creature, we might want to exile it instead. So 1 mana Dispatch. Normally it's just tap target creature, but with Metalcraft it's exile target creature. So that's 2 fantastic removal spells there, plus that's some super fast mana if you want to play at the higher levels of the power rankings. But yeah, and with all that said and done, if you could just like, comment and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, that would be fantastic. I appreciate the support as always. So yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye for now.